It's been a long journey, but we are finally here. The final episode of Degrassi Next Class Season 4. Hello, I'm Carrie, and welcome to Degrassi Corner, and in this video, we're talking about episode 410, K, Thanks, Bye, and I'm going to go quickly over the two non-graduation plots, and then we'll get into what happens with the seniors last. So Saad, he was accused of being involved with the bomb threat, but we know Esme was actually the one who called it in, and Yael apologizes for believing he did it, but Saad says he's moving to Montreal because there's nothing here for him, and that's when Lola kisses him, "Get him, girl," and we've got ourselves a new ship going into season 5. We also find out Esme isn't graduating, and she ends up showing up to the graduation ceremony on a motorcycle. She's still convinced Zig's friends are trying to tear them apart, and she tells Zig that the motorcycle is for them so that they can get away from everyone. If you remember in season 1, Esme went to extreme lengths to try and get Miles back after he broke up with her, and part of her plan was her telling Miles that they should run away. But here in season 4, when Zig tells her that he can't go with her, Esme freaks out and she starts destroying the bike and she tries to attack Zig. As Esme continues to break down, Miss Grell runs out and tells Esme that it's never too late to ask for help. So this is obviously a very emotional scene because Esme has officially hit rock bottom, and because she didn't graduate, it's safe to assume that she'll be back at Degrassi next year. So we'll see what help, if any, Esme is able to get in future seasons. Now, finally, it's time for the Degrassi seniors to graduate. There was an indication that Zoe's mom might show up to graduation after months of not talking to Zoe. Unfortunately, Zoe's stepdad shows up with the bad news that Zoe's mom isn't coming, and he gives her a gift box full of her personal documents, along with a letter from her mom. Zoe doesn't want to open the letter, insisting that she's fine, and we do see her burn the letter later in the episode after graduation. But she ends up breaking down during her valedictorian speech, and at that point in the episode, that's when the waterworks started for me, and I basically cried like a baby all the way through to the end. It's amazing to see the seniors rallying around Zoe, especially knowing the journey that all of these characters have been through together on this show. And another thing I love is Maya singing Last Exit. That song had one meaning when Maya wrote it, but now it takes on an entirely new meaning as these characters exit high school and enter adulthood. The ending montage is excellent. End of story. I love that we get to see a glimpse into their lives after graduation, and all of their stories are left open-ended. Miles and Winston go on their trip. Grace gets her transplant. Tristan graduates from rehab. And by the way, he did not actually graduate from Degrassi. He received an honorary degree, but he is indeed leaving the show for good. Winston and Goldie are seen hanging out. Zoe and Rasha, they're still together and still looking happy. Tiny, he's off to Caltech. And then the episode fades to black as Zig and Maya are seen driving together. So here's the funny thing. One of the top things that people have always been complaining about when it comes to Degrassi is that the show spends too much time on relationship drama. But at the same time, the number one thing that people talk about the most, and the thing that gets people the most emotional about this show, are the couples. And the expectation is that their favorite couple is going to be in game, and they're going to get that fairy tale ending where they ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. Well, Degrassi once again outplays its fan base by having major ships leave the show in a way that's open to interpretation. Eclair in season 14, they didn't get the fairy tale ending that everybody was expecting. They were technically in game, but there's no guarantee that they're living happily ever after. And the same goes for Zaya now. Their endgame is implied, but we don't really know what their future holds. Even Trials. Yes, they broke up 2 episodes before the finale, but their breakup was amicable. They needed to be apart in order to do what's best for themselves, but it's most definitely in the realm of possibility that they could get back together. And both Zasha and Shiny have half of their ships still left behind at Degrassi, so that'll be interesting to see how those are handled in future seasons. But overall, this feels like the most natural exit of any generation we've ever had. The seniors have graduated and they left the show, but there isn't necessarily a sense of finality, like the story has been wrapped up in a neat little bow. It's simply they closed this chapter of their lives, and now they're moving on to the next chapter. And if we're lucky, we'll get to see or hear if any of these characters that we've grown up with made it through. I want to thank all of you for watching these video reviews on Degrassi Next Class Season 4. Another season of Degrassi in the books. Leave your thoughts on the graduation of another generation of characters in the comments section below. These hiatuses in between seasons nowadays are long and very grueling, so make sure you subscribe to Degrassi Corner so that you don't miss any updates on news about future seasons of Degrassi Next Class.